Now it's time for the Voice for the Industry podcast.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, I was really excited with this episode with Audrey Hall and Ashley Morrison. It was just really interesting to hear how they kind of both got into the industry through families, but different ways. Their feelings for each other, their common admiration for each other was just palpable and just a pleasure to see.
Yeah, their friendship and what they learn from each other and the way they talk about each other. It's really nice to hear how it all started in the industry and how it's going.
And as those of you that 8 or 10 of you that actually listen or watch this episode, you'll find out that when I said it was a better than I expected it to be episode, maybe it wasn't. All right. See you guys later. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voice for the Industry podcast. I am extremely excited today to welcome two very good friends and two customers, Audrey Hall, Ashley Morrison. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great. Thank you.
Good. Welcome. All right. Well, we're going to get started. I've got a couple bios here. Audrey wasn't much interest in the bio, so she gave me permission to write one. I hope you like it. Here it goes. Okay. Audrey Hall began her pest control career working at her family business, Buffalo Exterminating. When her parents sold the company so they could flee the frozen tundra of upstate New York and move to Florida, as so many do, Audrey, at that time a brunette, took over her small pest control company, EcoServe Pest Services. Audrey realized early on the road to a successful company was hiring the right people, making sure customers come first, and being active in the community. Through Audrey's many, many social media posts, it's evident that EcoServe plays a pivotal role in their local community by supporting education, various charities, and neighboring businesses. Every October, EcoServe raises awareness and funds for the Breast Cancer Network of Western New York. They look good doing it too, with pink polo, boot covers, and gloves. In December, they adopt a family for the holidays, and the team will take a field trip to the toy store to shop for the kids. Plus, EcoServe holds a biannual food drive, matching up to $500 worth of food donated straight from customers and employees partners are brought in by staff. Audrey is very active in the industry and has held many positions in the National Pest Management Association. She appears on many panels and discussion groups at various conferences and meetings. Audrey is also a big believer in the benefits of belonging to peer groups and a big believer in occasionally drinking to excess. Audrey loves spending time with her daughter, her beloved dogs, and she enjoys seeing her many friends throughout the country as she travels to support EcoServe and the industry. There you go. How'd I do?
Thanks, Ray. That was fantastic.
All right.
That was so great.
Well, there you go. All right. Now Ashley's turn. I did not write Ashley's bio. Ashley Morrison is the co-owner of Citywide Exterminating alongside her brother, Chris, and husband, Dylan. With over 15 years of experience in the pest control industry, Ashley has held a variety of roles and remains actively involved at both the state and national levels. She is a graduate of the MPMA Executive Leadership Program and a former board member. She currently serves on MPA's Business Innovations and P3 Steering Committee, as well as the Public Relations Committee for the North Carolina Pest Management Association. Outside of work, Ashley stays busy with her 3 children, enjoys traveling with her family, and serves their kids full-time taxi so they can continue living their best lives. Fantastic. Yeah, it's funny talking with Court. He said the same thing. He just drives his kids around. Yeah, that's what he does. He's a taxi.
I love bios, Ray, because I feel like the only thing anyone caught from mine was the excessive drinking. And then the only thing anyone caught from Ashley's is that she's just a taxi for her children living their best lives.
Yeah. We'll think about now.
The rest of it has no consequence.
Well, there was a lot of other stuff besides the excessive drinking in the taxi driver, but I guess people will remember what appeals most to them, right?
Yeah, we'll see how this goes today.
We're gonna see. All right. Well, I'm really excited. Both of you are pest control company owners. You're obviously both women in a male-dominated industry, and I'm just excited about the conversation we're gonna have. So the first thing is, and what I'll do is I'll just ask. We'll kind of rotate who goes first, just to keep it easy, and you guys aren't having to decide who's going to talk. So the first question we have today: what initially drew each of you into the pest control industry? I know you were family businesses, but what made you stay, I guess, is also a good question in the pest control industry. Audrey, will let you take that one first.
Yeah, so a little bit about my background. So at Buffalo Exterminating, my dad was a minority owner. My mom was the HR manager, and the business partner Gary Tank and his wife Joanne were really involved in the industry and the business. And so I got a chance to see all of the different facets of business. I was very fortunate to this day. That's the reason why I kind of stuck with it. But initially, I actually was going to go for physical therapy. I was originally going to be a physical therapist, and I got to my first year of college and realized that I am not as bright as I think I thought I was. And in order to be a physical therapist, you need to know all the sciences. So like anatomy and physiology and biology. I just quite honestly failed like almost all of them. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And my dad's like, we have this weekend business, EcoServe, if this isn't something that interests you. And I had been going on the weekends throughout high school and college to pull hose for my dad out in the field. And I got to know a bunch of our customers and fell in love with the customer service side of things. And I mean, these people my dad has known for years. And so I loved that side of it. And that is really, I think, the catalyst that kind of led me into my, getting my business degree. And then after I graduated in 2012, that's when the plans were already in motion. I'd already done a business plan on EcoServe in my college entrepreneurial class. At which point I had one of my professors to this day, very clearly remember it, tell me that I will never amount to much. And, that that was, I wouldn't say it was fuel, but it was like, well, watch me. And so that's kind of the beginning of my story. And now my favorite part is watching my team go and do the same things that I did out in the field at the beginning and watch their excitement taking care of a mouse problem for our customer or bed bugs or any of the issues that they kind of run into out in the field. And they'll send pictures into the group chat. It's just awesome. It's so it's great to see that side of things now that I'm in the position I'm in.
Have you gone back and made sure the professor knows that he was wrong?
I'm not entirely sure he's around, and no, I don't care that much. But I feel like hopefully he'll see my face around town and think twice, but maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe have all the EcoServe trucks drive by out at the same time. Their horn.
We'll do like a little parade.
There you go. All right. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you. All right, Ashley, what about you?
All right. So before I answer, I was actually going to say the same thing. Please tell me this professor is a customer now of yours. That would just be icing on the cake.
That would be incredible.
I know. Oh my goodness. So I actually did not want to work with my family. My parents started this company 25 years ago. My dad and I were more alike than I care to admit some days. So we butt heads a lot. So after college, I found myself, I was working in nonprofit development for a few years, and I was in a career that I knew I didn't want to pursue. It wasn't my passion. Um, and their business was growing naturally. And at the time, they were running it out of their house. So they were at this weird crossroads where they needed some help in the office, but it was still running out of a spare bedroom. And so that creates some weird dynamic. And they were trying to figure out who they're going to bring in to help. So after a lot of conversation, we set some hard parameters. We hammered out our roles and responsibilities, and we threw caution to the wind. And I joined the family business. And honestly, it's the best decision that I ever made. I will eat my words and say I enjoy working with my family now most days, not every day. But it's been really rewarding and fulfilling to see what we can grow and what we can create together. We all, we all have our lanes that we try to stay in most days, but I think my favorite part is that I get to do this with people that I love.
Fantastic. Great answer also. All right. Well, I was going to forget what I was going to say. Anyway, you guys are both deeply involved in industry associations. You're also involved in peer groups like Associated Pest. I'm going to start with you, Ashley. Tell us like what value you see in those and why you're so active in those kind of associations and groups and things like that.
Yeah, so I grew up around the business, but not necessarily the industry. So it was, when my parents started the company, it was foot on the gas, didn't have time for other things. They were doing all the things themselves and, solo operator. And, my mom helped in the office after she worked her full-time job. So, 10 years ago when we got involved, or maybe a little longer than that, when we got involved and heavily involved in the industry, I knew nobody. I was the newcomer, and I was just kind of trying to figure it out. And I was just blown away at how friendly and generous everyone was in our industry. They were so welcoming. And so to me, it was unlike anything that I had ever experienced or expected going, into these associations. And so, now I am to the point where I stay involved because I want other people to know how to get involved. It changed our business. It changed me personally and professionally. And so I feel like it's my duty to give back to these associations that were so great to us and the people that were so welcoming to us. That's why I stay involved. And that's why I am passionate about being involved in our associations.
Now that's a great way to put it. And everything you said is exactly accurate for a lot of people. Audrey, want to add anything to that, or what's your perspective?
I was the exact opposite, actually. Which I think is why this works. So I grew up in the business. My dad, again, was a partner at Buffalo Exterminating. We moved into Buffalo when I was 4 years old for Buffalo Exterminating. And at the time, I think they were doing maybe, I remember the toast in the office at $1 million. So I think he came in around $500,000-$600,000 a year. And so I was around that. Gary Tank, the majority owner of Buffalo Exterminating, really believed in being in the industry and building relationships. And so from the get-go, he actually brought our families, like that was my way of going on vacation. So most kids go to Florida to spend the week with their families. I go to bug conferences. And to this day, I'm very blessed. My daughter does pretty much the same thing. She'll be going to Associated Pest in a few weeks with me. So that was my way of getting involved in the industry, meeting new people, getting around other kids that are in the industry too about the same time. It's very familial. It's weird to either fall into the industry completely out of nowhere or you're born into it. And so there's kind of no other way around it. And I felt like growing up, going to these networking events, getting to know people from like a kid perspective. And then obviously when I took EcoServe over in 2012 and it was just me and I was growing the business by myself, like it was a grind for sure for a few years because I was in the field every single day. I was handling phone calls. And then in 2017, that's actually where I met Ashley, the executive leadership program for NPMA. That was the first year. We both applied to it and we got in, and we were the only females in the class of 10. And that was our first, I think both of our first real deep dive into the industry as business, as being in the business. So I feel like, we had a huge opportunity with that program. I'm a big advocate of it. I'm a big believer of finding money in the budget to go to these events, but really when you go to these events, make them as useful as possible, especially when you're on such a tight budget, especially when you're doing $200,000 a year and, putting $5,000 towards Pest World is a really massive commitment. I mean, I remember those days. It was extremely expensive and we didn't necessarily have the money, but you pour into it and you get out what you put into it. And, now that we're so far, ahead from where we were back then, it's like Ashley's saying, the involvement in the industry is more of an opportunity for me to get involved. And I give the credit to my team for being able to do the day-to-day stuff so that I have the opportunity to go and be able to give back and, talk with people that were in the shoes that I was 10 years ago. And then also talk to people that are in shoes that I want to be in 10 years from now too. So it's like you have this, you leverage the folks that you're around, and you understand that kind of everyone that's in that room is sort of feeling the same things that you're feeling. I'll come back from a meeting and I'll be like, okay, well, Audrey, you're okay. You're not on an island. It's okay to have, things happen, people happen. It's just, we're very fortunate. We're very blessed to be in the position we're in. And it's, I love the opportunity to be in the industry and go to these meetings and just learn as much as I can.
Yeah, that's funny. I met Ashley in 2017 as well. I think it was the Pest Roll in Baltimore, if I remember correctly.
Might have
That's
been.
pretty funny. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, the funny thing is, like, you talk about the kids and growing up in the industry and the kids going to the shows. We're in other industries, but so I can tell you when I go to trade shows and things like that. This is like one of the only industries where you go and you see kids walking through the exhibit hall, and the kids are with the parents. Most of the other industries that I see, it's very much a business meeting, and they might have the family here or there, but it's definitely a family vibe, and you can see the generational aspect of it. It's pretty fascinating.
Well, and listen, Ray, I'm going to tell you this because I don't want to, I think the people who would give a crap about listening to this are in the know. So I don't think I'm breaking any like trade secrets here. But like when we go to meetings, when I was in my 20s, I'm not, spoiler alert, not in my 20s anymore, but when I was in my 20s
What?
and we went to these meetings, okay, cool. I'm there to get information. I'm also there to get the frig away from my family. I love them to death, but also like this was an opportunity to get away and to enjoy a little time away with people that I love and care about deeply. And I had zero interest in bringing my child to these meetings. So I feel like it's almost like, it sounds terrible, but it's almost like college. You get that crap out of your system a little bit, and then you get older and you're like, oh, I guess I need to like, this is family and bring my child and stuff. And like, they're a little bit older now too. So like she can enjoy being at these meetings. But I mean, listen, if I were to look my team in the face and say I'm going to these meetings because they're super boring and I'm there to just learn and I'm in meetings all day and I'm exhausted and blah, 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 it's just not, no, I have a really good time. And that's part of the gig.
Yeah.
Ashley, are you on the same page as me, or am I just out here on an island?
Well, so I still have a 5-year-old, so I don't enjoy bringing him to the meetings, but my older kids are a little bit more manageable. But yes, I'm trying to convince one of mine, at least one, to come to Associated next month, but I'm just not sure if it's going to work out.
Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a little grown-up time and not have to worry about watching kids for a while. So that makes a lot of sense. That's great though. And Ashley, I've seen both of your said children at different shows, so it's always fascinating. All right, so you're both successful leaders. You're also very close friends. How has your friendship influenced your work and your industry perspective? And how did you guys become such good friends? And how does that relationship help you, like on the work side, and then also on the personal side? Ashley first.
So, our friendship, I'm just going to say unlike anything else. It's Audrey is a force to be reckoned with, and I feel like she has pushed me to always want to do better. She inspires me, she encourages me. We talk almost every day, if not multiple times a day. Um, and we are so open with each other. She will tell me if I'm about to make a stupid decision. um, she serves on what I consider my personal board of directors. And, I run things by her all the time before I mess up, before I make a mistake. Um, we talk and communicate almost every day. And I feel like she has had a huge influence on some of the decisions that we've made and how we've decided to run our business and the things that we focus on. And um, some of the things that we've decided are important to us here are inspired by Audrey and the conversations that we have. I feel like she is brutally honest with me. I can be honest right back with her. um, and I think it's so important to have people in your corner that you can trust, through everything, who are going to give you the hard truth. And they're not just going to tell you what you want to hear. And for me, that's Audrey. And she has shaped so much of my life, personally and professionally, that I don't know what I would do without her in my life at this point.
I guess
Yeah.
you like Audrey a little bit then. Right there.
she's kind of obsessed with me. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize it was that aggressive. No, I'm just kidding. I I think the feeling is extremely mutual. I think that when we met in 2017, it was so she had messaged me and she's like, "Hey, this is Ashley. I'm going to be in your ELP class." And it was just like from that moment, it was very much natural. And I think, when over the next from that moment on, it was like we were glued at the hip at industry events. And it's funny because if you know us, you are like, "Where's your person?" Like it literally is at the meetings, "Where's your person?" And we know exactly who they're talking about. Like we know. We've actually added on to our personship. We have a trio, Danielle Collinson, and so she's in our little mix there. So I guess we have a posse now. And yeah, I'm a pretty independent human being. And yes, I can be a lot. I get no qualms about it. It's like you either love me or you hate me. There's no middle ground, and I'm super cool with that. And Ashley is like the person that's like, she's so calm. She's so like level headed. I know she probably does not think that of herself, but she's extremely level headed. And like, like she said, we talk all the time. We mention things back and forth on the business. And I think, if anyone has the opportunity to meet new people and maybe they're not comfortable with, reaching out, or they feel like, that other people are not feeling the same way that they are, or I just encourage anyone to have that relationship and find that person. I would say it's probably pretty difficult to find. I think the level of connection that Ashley and I have is kind of an interesting, kind of weird experience that I would never probably have expect. I'm sorry, that sounds weird, but you never expect to have
Weird in a good way. Yeah,
weird in a good way. Yeah,
Yeah.
weird in a good way. You wouldn't have that relationship typically, right? So, we talk personally, we talk about life and all the challenges that come with being a working mom and running a business. And, you've got your kids at work where, you are trying so hard to make sure everyone is happy, and, you can't always make that happen. And then you're at home and you're doing all the things at home, and then you're trying to find time for yourself. And it's like, whoa, 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 this is a lot. So having someone to just text and be like, "What is going on?" And even if we don't have a solution, just to sit there and be like, "Yeah, no, this day sucked. You're right. This sucked. No, this is screw that situation." And that is a huge deal for me. Like my mental space is light years ahead if Ashley was not a part of my life to just kind of settle me down. And I'm like a big person that if you find your person, you stick with them, you work it out, you communicate, you figure it out. Like, just like anything else, yeah, I would say thank God for the executive leadership program and what that brought to us, and kind of where we've since come from there. I will say that Ashley and I talk all the time. I'm a very competitive person, and she is one of those people that pushes me to be better because of the things that she's doing in her organization. And one of the things that not a lot of people know about Ashley is she has these episodes, and we can cut this out if she doesn't want to talk about it, but she has these incredible weird episodes where it's like maybe 2 or 3 times a year where she goes, it's manic, I would say, where she is like taking care of business, like, "Get out of my way. We're doing this." And I just sit there and watch, and I'm just in complete awe. And then I look at myself and I'm like, "Well, shit, Audrey, you need to do better." And so it's like, stop complaining about being tired. Like, look what she's doing. So I feel like in a positive, competitive environment, I get that a lot, and it's wonderful.
Well, I mean, you guys obviously. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, something else that I think struck me a couple months ago about the relationship that Audrey and I have is that my kids will actually call her now. My oldest is 14, and she will text Audrey and ask her opinion. She will text Danny also and ask. We all have a group message, and I just think back to when I was 14, I wasn't texting or calling my mom's friends. And so I think that speaks to the relationship and how open, our families have gotten to know each other. We have vacationed together. We take all of the kids along. Our kids still talk to each other, even when they haven't seen each other in 6 months. Actually, Danny's daughter prank called me last night. And Dylan and I had fun with that. And so I just think it's really, really cool when you meet somebody in a professional space and that translates down to the rest of your family.
I mean, it's so funny because like Audrey, you're the outgoing and and Ashley more to calm, and you guys obviously complement each other and obviously love each other, and it's just amazing. And I've been fortunate to hang out with you guys a few times, and then it's great to enjoy the energy that you guys have together. Um, and just listening to you talk about each other, you can just see it, you can hear it, and feel it. So that's amazing. And I'm happy for both of you that you found each other and have added so much to each other's lives. That's just fantastic. It really is.
I don't know if Ashley's husband Dylan feels the same way. I
Yeah.
think he feels like there's a wedge in the
He'd
relationship,
probably
and
like to elbow you out a little bit.
I
Yeah.
am the wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He's
That's funny.
just accepted it at this point.
yeah.
He has no choice at this point. So it's pretty much the way it is. Right. All right. So you guys work for different companies in the same industry. And you talked a little bit about this, and you guys are obviously collaborative, competitive. You've helped each other in the businesses, but give a couple specific things that that maybe you've put into your business and done and benefited from as a result of maybe one of the other advice or working together, collaborating on something.
I
Audrey?
mean, the one thing that struck me initially was when you put my bio together and you talked about the breast cancer network thing. Those gloves and the boot covers came right from Ashley. I mean, she was doing that in the field first, and so there's a lot of things that we do in our organization that just are a direct result of what Ashley has put into place and what other people in our industry have put into place. I don't think what we do is necessarily rocket science, but I do believe that the consistency of what we do is important, and I think that's where we have some missing pieces, and that's where I think certain companies are going to excel more than others. And so, it's nice to be surrounded by Ashley, who is definitely that consistent person. And so the things that she does in her business are very consistent, very methodical. She is one of those people that is very, I would say, financially savvy. She loves her numbers, and so that's one of the things that I think from a pushing me to be better and pushing me to just kind of be more aware, that I'm really lucky to have that person. Otherwise, it's like you get stuck. It doesn't. I would probably say that it doesn't matter the size of your business. You will always get bogged down by whatever's in front of you and at the moment. And so it's really critical to push yourself away from that stuff and find time to do things that are more productive for the overall vision of the company. And so I think that's where Ashley and I do a really good job of just being like, hey, what's on tap for this year for you? What are you working on? And she's complaining about this big freaking project that she's got going on, but it's the coolest thing ever. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I should definitely do that. And it's like, we talk about all the challenges and some of the struggles, and so we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. We have to just lean on each other. And I think a lot of companies successfully do that. I think if you look at a lot of the larger companies, they're not necessarily reinventing the wheel. They're just, I think, pushing a little bit harder than they did the day before. And I think that's kind of where the secret is.
Yeah, what do you think? Ashley, sorry. Ashley, what do you think?
So Audrey is such a good reminder to me to stop focusing on the numbers all the time. And I think I watched how bold and big and how generous she is with her company and her resources and to her team. And she is constantly doing all the cool things out there. And so for me, where I love focusing on the numbers, she reminds me that's not all we've got to do. And so I think, Audrey talked about the breast cancer thing. Well, she also does a lot of other community involvement and benevolence things that inspire me to look in our community to see how can we do this here? How can we do something that our community needs? How can we give back? How can we focus on what our team enjoys doing? And so, Audrey is that balance of, where I like numbers. She also reminds me we've got a lot of other stuff that it takes to run a successful business. And so this is what we need to be focusing on too. And so I think she helps balance, my one track mind sometimes. And she reminds me, okay, there's a lot of other stuff out there that matters also. And so I think if it was just up to me, I might sometimes get lost or hole up in my office studying things and trying to figure out. But Audrey's this constant reminder of, you know, what you do in your community and how you communicate with your team and how you pursue your team's own passions, those also contribute to having a successful business. And so I look at her, and I mean, sometimes we're so opposite on our focus, but it just makes so much sense for us to balance each other.
Yeah, completely.
Sometimes it's not an expense, it's an investment, right? So if you spend money on your team, spend money on the community,
Well, and
you're
one of
actually
the
getting money back.
things Bobby Jenkins had kind of said something once in a talk or something. I almost think it was maybe the alliance, something along those lines. He was talking on it, and he said it's our it's our financial responsibility. Like, it's our responsibility as business owners to use the financial resources of our customers to do good in the community. And so that, ever since that, it kind of sat with me that said, well, if our customers believe in us enough to buy our services, and we can do an exceptional job from them, what I think makes sense, it just makes sense for all businesses, it's good for business, is to do good and give back. And so it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple principle that we kind of live by it here at EcoServe, but it's, there's so much that's such a reciprocal thing. You get so much back from the giving of things that it's almost like, you almost feel bad being like, oh, this is charitable, because like it's a little bit selfish too. The things that we do for our community, like, you know, we want our customers to know that we do this stuff because it's important to us, and we want those customers to keep coming back because we want them to know that the money that you're giving us is actually going to go somewhere. It's not going out of state, it's not going out of the country, it's sticking right here in the community. And that's if that's important to them, that's important to us.
Yeah,
When I thought about this question originally, the two words that came to mind when I thought about the biggest thing that I've learned from Audrey is bold generosity. And, I've watched Audrey go out of her way for everyone. She gives and gives and gives repeatedly. And it's just remarkable at, how generous Audrey is. And that's one thing that I've really, really admired about her, and that I have brought back to the things that we do. Audrey is one of the kindest people that I've ever met, and she goes out of her way for people that she cares about, and things that she cares about, things that are close to her heart.
Well, and let's not forget all of the boxes that you send to my family and my children, or my child. I have one child and two dogs, so they're my children. And no, Ashley does the same. Like when there's like a big, we hit a milestone or something like that. I think when we hit maybe 2 million or whatever, she sent a whole freaking edible arrangements without me knowing at all. And she sends like holiday boxes filled with stuff. Like, she goes, like, it does a Target haul, and all of a sudden the stuff comes in, and my daughter's freaking out. She's so excited. And so when we talk about thoughtfulness, that to me speaks volumes too. I think simple acts, especially in a world where we're heading in this AI direction, which I'm fully embracing. I think there's so much to learn and know. And I think, the efficiencies that AI brings can also allow us the opportunity to do the human things that are critical, and that we didn't necessarily have time to do before because we were bogged down in those little tasks, those little administrative tasks. And so, the things that I think Ashley and I focus on as part of the things that I think make Ashley really special is like, that's a huge, I think that's a huge opportunity for us as a society to sort of get back to that human element, and the importance of maybe picking up the phone or sending a letter, like a letter in the mail. And who the hell knows how long we're going to have the postal service, because but maybe that just means I need to get on an airplane and go down and hand deliver it. I think that's essentially that maybe what that means, is that I'll just have to take a trip, unfortunately.
That's a good point. And we didn't talk ahead of time about talking about AI. That wasn't one of the questions we discussed. But since you mentioned it, I figure, we probably should talk a bit about, because that's what everybody else is talking about. And so I agree with you. What I see with AI is, it's a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to gather and collect data, right? To take it and then create actionable things, to do actionable things or impactful things with that. And what AI is doing is getting us all the data, so we don't spend the time gathering. We can act, right? But Ashley, what do you think, and what do you see about AI in the industry, your company? What are your thoughts about it? Is it something you're excited about, you're diving into, or kind of where are you at with it?
So we are embracing it. I am probably not nearly as fluent in it as Audrey, because I think Audrey's doing really cool things, and I know she's specifically focused on learning more about it. We have used it for several things. A lot of it is our internal data. It's running reports or analyzing reports. Um, I know that, the person that does our social media uses it to help create a social media content and calendar. Um, we are embracing it, but we are also remembering that we are still human at the end of the day, and we have got to make sure that we aren't hiding behind AI and we aren't hiding behind that technology, that we are still human first. And so, I think if you lose that focus, you will easily become just another commodity in people's lives. And so I think that it presents us with new challenges to where we've got to go out of our way to remind people that we are human. We're human running the business. We're human servicing our customers. But we are embracing it, and we are using it to try to streamline some of the monotony of what can be done quicker.
And your customers are humans too. That ties it together, right?
For
Yes.
now. For now, they're human. Who knows?
That's true. That's true. What do you think, Audrey? Talk a bit
Yeah,
more about AI.
I'm in a monthly AI class. So we meet for 2 hours every month, and then we are kind of like held accountable to the things that we're supposed to be doing. And so, at all different industries right here in Buffalo, we go in person. We have this, we meet, and it's every month is a little bit different because things change so rapidly in the technology space, especially when it comes to AI and the news. I mean, the problem is that there's so many applications that are out there, and every day there's probably dozens, if not hundreds, of new apps for AI to be used. And so you really have to kind of compartmentalize the portions of AI that are applicable in your business. And one of the things that I just can think of immediately is just the fact, as a small business, we had 3 or 4 people, I'd have to spend literally hours and hours and hours on end writing standard operating procedures and checklists, and like, okay, how do we do that? And then, how do we do this service, and how do we do that service, or how do we treat for this pest? And it's like, it can be so time consuming. And as a small business owner, you don't have that time. You just don't. You're out there trying to make money and bring food home to your family, and answer phone calls and emails and pay the bills and make sure that people are paying you. And it can be overwhelming. And with AI, sometimes you do have to sit down and just kind of sort through what there is. But the cool thing is that, I use ChatGPT. His name is Chet, for short, because I talk to him all the time. Basically, that's a way for you to start organizing your life. You talk to Chet, you just put the recorder on, you just start talking to him as if, just explain your life. Say, this is my business, this is how big I am, blah, 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 blah. And then it's all about what you're asking him. So, you can ask him say, hey, I'm just using ChatGPT for the first time. How do I use this? What's the best way for me to use this? And so you don't even necessarily have to think about the ways to use AI. You just have to know how to ask the questions. And I think there's so much value in, you got to start somewhere. And in this class, the one thing we talk about every single time is people first, people last. And so it's really critical that you're inputting the proper prompts, and you got to use it. It's one of those things where it's like riding a bike. You got to continue to use it. You got to continue to do it. And so, it's what you put into it. And then you'll just start it'll continue to learn from the voice and the things that you say. And then once you get the output, if you ask for a standard operating procedure on how to answer the phone or how to do a, ant job or whatever, you got to prompt it on the things that are important to you, and then you get that output, and then you got to keep tweaking it. You got to put the human element back into it at the end. And I think that that's sometimes the piece that's missing is that, you know, we have these colleges, we have these educational institutions that are really worried about AI. What is important is how people are utilizing it, how they're putting the front end onto it, and then they get the information out and what they're putting onto it at the end. You can't just submit something and be like, all right, here's our Rolodex of standard operating procedures at EcoServe. We're going to implement them and call it a day. I would love for it to work that way, but it doesn't. There's still that human element to it. And like that, I foresee a huge push to utilize this stuff out in the field. I'm very intrigued to see what the future of data means for our industry, because I think we are struggling with some of the equipment, the device monitoring equipment out in the field. And I think, you know, there's a lot of data out there that we can utilize. And I think some manufacturers are trying to find out what's the best way to use that information to make it financially feasible for our customers and for ourselves, and, you know, to make sure that it's not just data for the sake of data. And we'll get there. But you know, it can be a lot. You just got to start somewhere.
That's great. Yeah, no, I just can't figure out where it's going to go. The possibilities are limitless. You know, just think about, you know, already just in the short, like 2 years or so, what's happening with AI. It's going to be exciting to see it happen. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. We're going to wrap it up with each of you, just an open forum. You can, any topic you want to talk about, any message you want to send, hi to grandma, whatever. We'll start with Ashley. What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah. So I know we kind of talked about things that we're passionate about. And so I am just going to touch on, I am very passionate about professionalism at all levels in our industry. That is my focus. That is what drives, you know, all the decisions that we make here as a company and what we decide to do here. And I think that professionalism, you know, we're competing with the big trades to attract talent to our industry, and you know, we have got to make a push to continue to elevate our professionalism, and that's from sales, service, how you conduct yourself, your appearance. And I think this feeds into why I'm so passionate about staying involved in our industry, because if our associations are also on that same path and our associations are focusing and elevating our industry, I think we're going to have less trouble attracting people to our industry. And, you know, it's no secret, talent is harder and harder to find. And so you know, my biggest passion and my biggest push is focusing on elevating every aspect of our industry and what we do.
Oh, it's fantastic. And that makes a huge difference. And I've seen that, you know, like I said, I go to a lot of trade shows and I see like these technician schools, and you see some companies and they're in uniform and they're sharp and they're on time, you know, and then other ones, they kind of little ragtag and they kind of wander into here or there. So definitely has an impact on people, the level of professionalism you operate your company on. That's for sure. What about you, Audrey?
Ray, you did say if we wanted to say hello to our grandmothers.
Yes.
Both of my grandmothers are dead, so I can't do that, unfortunately. Thank you for reminding me.
My pleasure.
Rest in peace, both grandmothers. But anyways, I think.
But if they were still alive, you could say hi to them. So you did.
But they're not. Thank you for reminding me again. They're both dead. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I think that I'm a big, you know, my passion in this industry is small business. I think that you know, when we were in the executive leadership program, we did a little group project. And one of the things that we found from that group project is like 90% of the membership at NPMA at the time was under $1 million in annual revenue. And so the importance that small business plays in our industry is critical. I think that we've seen a lot of consolidation with mergers and acquisitions over the last several years, which I think is just a product of sort of the waves of our time, right? And so most industries are feeling this, you know, venture capital type, you know, movement, which is fine. But I think to Ashley's point, we have kind of a responsibility as an industry, as a member of NPMA, as a member of our state associations, to really push professionalism, making sure that we understand that we are all in this together. Is that the way that I present myself as a representative of our industry, whether it's at a meeting or whether it's at a local business event that I'm a part of, or when Ashley and I are at Associated Pest, which is another industry group, in a couple weeks when we're meeting for that. Is that it's really important for us to just be the best representatives that we can for our business. And that is it's tough because you want to be yourself. You want to show up as yourself, and you want to have a good time. And there is 100% a balance between being yourself and remembering that you are still representing an entire industry. And it's important for us as we continue to grow this industry, as we continue to have to compete with other trades that may be more lucrative from a financial standpoint for people. We have to continue to push ourselves to continue to be that best representative and to get more people into our industry. And that happens by it does not happen on accident. It takes a lot of work collectively. Just because if everyone has a poor experience or has this perception of what pest control is, they can immediately be turned off. And so it's our job to continue to advocate for that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, this has been amazing. I knew this was going to be a good episode, and better than I thought it would be. So, but now we're going to have a little fun at the end. We're going to bring Carissa in.
Wait, what?
We have to end it at some point.
You literally said it's better than I thought it would be.
Yes.
You are. Okay, listen, before I hope Carissa does not, I hope she doesn't put this away because it's important. Before we got on this phone call, Ray said, Audrey, you are younger than I thought you would. I thought you were. First of all, rude. Second of all, you end the entire podcast with, this went better than I thought it would go. Did you not learn your lesson?
I thought it was going to be amazing, and it was even more amazing than I thought it would be. You know what?
Listen,
We can't edit this.
Set low, and
So, yeah, that's all right. We have editing power.
Expectations.
So, yeah. Carissa, this is coming out.
Sorry.
Carissa,
no, this is staying in.
Mark this. We're at 45 minutes, 50 seconds. Cut it. No, just kidding. All right. So I want to make sure that I I have a couple questions. I want to make sure I get the first one right. Okay, here we go. And we're all going to answer it, but we'll start with Ashley first. Would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands? In other words, all hands, all feet, right?
I'm going to go with all hands. I am not a foot person. And I feel like I could use another set of hands most days. So I'm going with hands easily with that one.
Audrey?
If I say feet, then I'm going to be a foot person, and that's weird. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go with hands. Yeah. No, I need my digits. My little tootsies would not work. That would be a mess.
Wait, but you do have a very strong foundation with your footsies.
Okay, well, that's rude again. Yeah, I do have really big feet, and I have a solid base. So, but I think we'd be okay with hands too.
I'm not talking about the feet. I've already gotten in trouble a couple of times. Kristen, what's your answer?
I would say hands too. I would not want to have feet where my hands are. No.
Yeah, I don't. Now that I think about it, why would you want feet up here? What do you mean?
Mhm.
These are like tiny little fingers. Like all your fingers.
You asked the question, Ray. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I didn't make it up. But that's a valid point. I think I would have to go with hands as well, just because I wouldn't be able. You try to eat with the fork and your fingers are that long. It's kind of hard to, do whatever.
Right.
So, all right. And we got another question. Audrey can take this one first. Would you rather be 12 inches tall or 12 feet tall?
12 feet tall.
12 feet
I'm already
tall.
getting pretty close to that. I'm 5'10", so I would 100% be 12. I'd rather be 12 feet tall.
Now you wouldn't be able to walk in anywhere, right? Like
No, people can
live outside.
come to me. Yeah, people can come to me. That's okay.
Oh, you could live like in an RV hangar, something like that.
Well, wait a minute. 12 inches, you said?
If you're 12 inches or 12 feet, yeah.
Oh, shoot. I think I thought about that too soon. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my answer. I'm gonna be pocket size, Audrey. I'll be 12 inches. Yep, that'll work.
Okay. All right, Ashley, what about you?
I'm going with 12 feet tall. I can, lower my head to go through a doorway. I can handle that. I'm not quite as tall as Audrey, right now, but um, I've never been a short person. So I think I would like to stay tall.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Carissa?
It's hard. Either way, I wouldn't want to do it. I'm saying 12 inches because then you can really go anywhere. You can be thrown in a suitcase. You can go wherever you want.
You can fly for free.
You can fly for free.
I do see the benefit in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever pay for a movie? You really if you paid for
Exactly.
a restaurant, you could just sit in a purse and they could feed you, right? My problem with 12 inches is I'm afraid I'd get crushed pretty easily. You're only this tall, somebody might not see you. So that's my concern. And then again, the 12 feet, it's going to be really hard to maneuver. But I think I'd have to go with the 12 feet just because then I wouldn't have to worry about somebody crushing me at least. And that would be my fear at 12 inches. Be worried about that. Great answers, though. Great answers. All right. Well, we're done. This is it. I hate to say goodbye. This has been better than I thought it would be by far. And it's a really great time. Audrey, Ashley, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye, guys. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.